Hey, it's you again. Or if you're new here, welcome. Here in my art room, I showcase longer videos than I do on Instagram. I also take you out and about, so look out for those. Okay, that's my intro. On to the video. So, I'm in the studio today. It's a Thursday, and I am working on a figure, as you can see. See? There it is. So this figure I have here is based on, I'm going to cover her face a little bit, a photograph of my late mother. You can see that. I've changed a few things, as you can see. And I'll put in the sketch that I started with right here, or here, somewhere in there. My goal with this is to do an abstract, kind of emotional, nostalgic figure painting, some kind of feeling of, I don't know, maybe the viewer will project their own feelings onto it, but it is a type of healing journey for me because I lost my mom not too long ago. This is a perfect way to start for this type of painting is to use a subject that is near and dear to me. I'm working in layers, so I did an underpainting. You can see the neon pink color. This is Opera Rose by Michael Harding. And then that dried, and then I went over with this kind of blue-gray color, which I think, I'm not sure, is going to be the main background for the painting. So you can see there are different levels of paint. So far, about 2 passes, and it is fairly dry to the touch. This is the medium that I'm using. It's the oleo pasto. You can't see because it's been wiped off. And this is what I mix into every little bit of paint. This was out yesterday, and you can see it is so sticky. I will, hold on, get you more of a close-up. Hold on. Okay, you can see. It is very sticky, but it is one of my favorite mediums to use. It gives really, really, really crisp textures, and you can paint right over other paints very easily with this. Get that bit out of there. This is a slightly different way that I work. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm winging it. And you know what? That's okay. You want to get into your studio and create some art, and whatever happens, happens. Okay? So in this mix, I filmed it, but when I filmed it, it was a little too like low in the frame, so it was a waste. So I will film mixing another batch in a bit. But in here is phthalo blue, some ultramarine blue, titanium white, and then I knocked it down or grayed it down with its complementary color of orange. So I mixed in some cadmium orange, which is this color here, a little bit in, and mixed it in to gray it down a bit. Also, I added my medium into it. So I'm going to take a chunk of paint off on a dry brush, and I have this paint there, so like I said, it's dry to the touch. And I am using thicker paint over this because you want to use the fat over lean method when putting paint over paint. Okay? So I added more medium, and I'm using a thicker paint over this so that it won't crack over time. And I'm just going to lay it in here, dry brush it with, thicker amount of paint than what's underneath it. I still want paint to show underneath all the layers, so I don't want to fully drag it in and get it mixed in with the under painting. So I'm just dragging it. Looking at this, I don't know. I don't know if I think the blue is too blue. Add a bit more. All right, I'm going to mix up a new blue, maybe something a bit more gray, and then go back over this. Okay, so here I have the blue. This is where I mixed the other one. Let me move this out of the way. I'm going to just make the same mix. So I had some phthalo blue. I need to put new paints out. These are kind of dry. This is the ultramarine, the cadmium orange. Probably need a bit more. Yeah, that's better. And then some titanium white. Hope you can see what I'm mixing here. I think it needs to be a bit. There we go. Maybe a bit more orange. Okay, I think that's good. I'm using this orange because it is, closest to what we consider an orange color. I didn't go with a cadmium red light, which is kind of a red orange, because it will give this a slightly purple hue or tint, and I don't want that. So, and you want to add the complementary color. So, blue and orange, you want to gray that color down, add this complementary color. Okay. Have a little bit of the solvent, the medium, and I am mixing it in really well. Oh, this is sticky. Okay, as you can see, I have gone over the background with thicker paint and using a dry brush. I did not clean it off in solvent. I've just been wiping it on a paper towel. So I used the same mix here and added more of the blue, more of the orange to get this grayer, darker blue color, which goes slightly green, but that's okay. Here I have a warm gray, which I just used the same mix again with more white and a bit more orange, and I got this warm gray. And now I'm kind of going into the shadow area of the dress. You see how I have it kind of with the black line, which is showing how the dress is sitting across the body. I kind of want to break that up a little bit because sometimes I can get into my traditional painting brain and it will take me out of a more creative space. I want to see, I started to kind of paint a face, and I don't really want a face because I don't want people to try to figure out who does it look like. It just needs to represent a feeling, and I want people to, or the viewer, not people, but you know what I mean, to see this figure as, whoever they want to see it as. I want to make this as nondescript as possible. So I'm just dragging the paint over what I already have. At some point I will start using the palette knife, but the other reason why this is a bit different than my usual ones is it's on a canvas panel, which gives it this kind of nice dragging motion across the surface because the surface itself is already textured with canvas. So this is fun. I usually paint on a wooden panel, and then when it's gessoed, it is smoother. But this is very interesting. I'm kind of leaving some other colors that I've put in already. I don't want to lose those. So I'm trying not to cover everything. And this part is thinner than this, so I don't have to go as thick as I did on this side. So I can scrub in a little bit with just a little more paint. I don't have to go as thick as this one because there's thicker paint here. So I'm just going in with a thickness slightly thicker than what was already down. Maybe this is too stark, it's too black. I want this to stand out more. I'm going to go back in at the very end and work on these. These are tiger lilies. And I want them to stand out kind of more than the chair and more than most of the figure. That and maybe this area is my focus of the painting. So I think I'm going to now add more whites and blues and different colors in this dress here to make it a little more interesting. After using the brush, I'm starting to go into that realm of trying to render it and make it look too, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Basically, it's not looking abstract or it's not simplified enough for me. I'm sorry, it took a long to get out, but it's because I'm trying to think and talk and film and think of my next step all at the same time. So, all right, let me think about this. Because I don't like where this is going. Even though if this was the type of painting I was aiming for, this would be fine. I just think it's not where I want to go with this. So I'm going to use my palette knife and I'm going to smooth and I'm going to mess this up, basically. Because I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. And I don't want to be perfect. I want to add texture, feeling, and I don't know, a different vibe. I think that's already looking better. It kind of looks like I'm using oil pastels or maybe even chalk pastels with the texture that's going on here. So because I didn't use such thick paint under this is fine. It won't crack with the underpainting. I wouldn't do that with this. If I was working up here, which I will, to bring out some lighter parts around here, I'm going to use a thick amount of paint on it and then kind of smooth over the texture. to kind of mimic this. But for this stage, since this is thinner than the background, I can do this. Mess it up. So you can hear this. How do you think it looks? I mean, it's okay to leave your opinion down below. Or any suggestions you think. Because I am, I don't know if I'm frustrated or what, but I'm kind of going a bit too hard in this area. I'm digging up the paint right down to the canvas. So let me fix that. See, I keep catching myself. Oops. Okay. I'm wondering about this. I think I may round that out. I just wanted you to see what I'm working on in the studio today. And, hopefully this has given you all some kind of a new glimpse into my process and into my thought process when I paint. And also, I hope this inspires you to go to whatever space you have, whether you paint in the kitchen, a spare bedroom, or, you have a proper studio or a garage maybe, to just get out there and put something down. You don't have to have too much of a plan. And just have some fun, make a mess, make mistakes. I mean, I don't know if this one is going to come out well, but I know that what I learned from doing this painting will help me in future painting. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. There's more videos to watch. Take a look.